Hey everyone, it's Connor from Koyfin. Today I'm going to spend some time talking about dynamic allocations in Koyfin's model portfolios. Unlike static allocations, where the allocation remains fixed or is based upon an initial allocation only, dynamic allocation allows advisors and portfolio managers to reallocate weightings systematically or manually. At Koyfin, a model portfolio is flexible enough to be constructed statically or dynamically. Today, I'm going to demonstrate how you can reallocate models dynamically. So to kick things off, the first thing we are going to do is create a brand new model portfolio. So on the left-hand side navigation here, we have this model portfolios. I'm going to click into that. And the first thing we are going to do is press Add New to create a brand new one. So we have two options here. We can get started from scratch, or we can upload an existing portfolio using a CSV. I'll go through that second flow just shortly, but for now, we're going to get started from scratch. So we have a few different options here. Number one, we can call our portfolio something and give it a name. Down the left-hand side here, you have various options. So we have an allocation type. You can choose weighting or notional. For today, we are going to stick with weight. You have an inception value here as well, and the currency of the portfolio, which will convert all returns into that portfolio currency. You have a benchmark selection here as well, which is useful for performance or the exposure exhibits. Then you have some logic around dates, rebalancing periods, and advisor fees, which we'll come to in just a second. So the first thing we want to do here is just add some securities to show you how it works. So I'm going to add ticker. I'm going to add in a couple of funds, SPY, IWM, and QQQ. We'll add some bond exposure there as well. And maybe we want to allocate to a couple of individual securities. So at this stage, this is the starting allocation. We can punch these numbers in by hand, but for sake of ease, I'm just going to press this drop down and equalize the weights. So now that we've created that, we can go back to the dates and the advisor fees. So just a short note on advisor fees. When you're creating a model portfolio as a proposal, you can add your advisor fee in here, and that will show up in performance. It will also show up in the report exhibits. If you're looking to compare a proposal to a potential client's existing portfolio, you can create another model portfolio and add in that fee so that you can then compare those two as well. For now, we're just going to leave advisor fees blank, and we're going to focus on dates. So the first thing you'll see here is that we default to what we call a first common date. A first common date is the earliest possible date that this portfolio could have been conceived. If I try to change this to custom and go back one day to April 9th, we can see that BND, the ETF, was listed on April 10th, so it could not have existed on April 9th. I'll go ahead and change that back to first common. And now let's look at rebalancing period. So if I press this drop down, we have a bunch of different options here. This is going to automate the rebalancing period as to whatever logic that you desire. So it's set to monthly right now. So every month, these positions are going to rebalance back to these target weights that I've specified semi-annually, monthly, weekly, quarterly. It will do the same thing, but over a different period. If I want these weights to just float naturally as the performance of each of the holdings influences the weightings, I can press none. In short, having no rebalancing period will set the portfolio with the target weights on day one, and then every day after that will be influenced by the market. So that's how you can set up automated rebalancing periods. But if you want specific rebalancing periods, we have new allocations here. So if I press new allocation and I want to change this, let's say in 2012 on the same date, I now have the option to readjust the target allocations on this specified date. So if on this date I want to sell out completely of all my bond exposure, I can reduce the weighting on this date to 0, and I can change all the other weightings in this table to 20. Now I have 100% allocated. I can add as many new allocation periods as I want, and I can even specify periods that are in the future. So if I delete these allocation periods for now, and we'll just go back to the start date. Let's say that I want to incept this portfolio at the beginning of 2024. Now let's say I want to have a custom rebalance period at the beginning of June. Between January and June, these weights will float with the market because I have rebalancing periods set to none. So on June, I want to rebalance them back to those target weights. You also have the option to specify future dates as well. So we're currently October 25th. If I want to rebalance these on December 31st and completely get out of my bond exposure, I can do that as well by specifying a future date. And when this date comes, the portfolio will automatically adjust for you. If you're looking for a way to simplify this process even further, we do have the option to upload a CSV. So you can do this in the initial inception phase of creating a portfolio, or you can do that from the Edit Portfolio dialog screen here. So I'm going to click Upload CSV. We give you an example CSV template here. If you press that, it will download a copy to your computer, and that will be useful to see the formatting required. So all we require is a symbol or an ISIN, a weight, and a date. You can create portfolios statically here by just having one allocation period. Alternatively, if you want to have dynamic weights, this is how you would structure that. You would have the symbol, the weight, and the date, and then you would add the rebalancing periods to the sheet as well. So I'm going to go ahead and upload this one that we're looking at right now. When you selected the CSV, you'll go through a few confirmation windows here. So I'm just going to press next. You'll match up the columns to the columns in the CSV. Mine look fine, so I'm going to press next again. And then we're going to process that model portfolio, and in just a second, you'll have one last confirmation screen. You will import those, and anytime you use the CSV, it's going to overwrite the existing positions in the portfolio. So here's what I've uploaded, and we can see that I have some dynamic allocations here. The portfolio starts in 2012. We have some broad large cap and US exposure, and then we have a few individual securities. In 2015, I increased the bond exposure to 20%. And in 2020, we take a big position in NVIDIA. Now, if I create this portfolio, it's going to create all of the analytics that I need based on those dynamic allocations. All of the performance will be synced up with the allocations as well, and you'll be able to see those in charts. I hope that gives you a good breakdown of how you can allocate portfolios dynamically. As always, you can drop a comment in the comment section below. We are at Koyfin Charts on all of our socials, or you can contact our help desk, which is help@koyfin.com. Until next time, thank you.